I can remember always being interested in music from a super young age. There was a lot of just music around me as a kid. As a child growing up in the 80s, the music that I was first drawn to was the stuff I was seeing on MTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
From classic rock, I got into other music from that era,
Broken glass.
like funk and soul, and started really diving into that. The time that I got into the idea of starting a record label was around the same time that I started DJing as well. And it was mostly because at first I just wanted an outlet to put out some of the music that I was making. So I started to produce music at that point. I wasn't DJing yet, but I was starting to collect records because I kind of had this sense that I was going to want to DJ at some point. I have records that I bought that I play now that when I bought them, I wasn't even DJing yet. I just was like, one day I'm going to be a DJ and I'm going to want to play this record. So this is one of my favorite records of all time, Donny Hathaway Live. This record was recorded in two places. One was at the Bitter End in New York, and the other was in San Francisco, in my favorite track on the record, which is Voices Inside, Everything is Everything, because the bass player, Willie Weeks, who's one of my favorite bass players, plays one of the most incredible bass solos of all time. And they wanted to use the version of the song from San Francisco, but then the bass solo from the recording in New York at the Bitter End. When you listen to this, you just kind of feel the energy in the room when they were playing, and there they are at the Bitter End. Classic venue that's still there. Yeah. When I was about 12, 13, I got my first instrument, an electric bass, because a couple of my friends were already playing guitar and we needed to start a band, so we needed a bass. But I actually always liked bass. I love jazz, I love the discipline of it, but it's not music that I'm really super engaged in trying to play, because I kind of just like the experience of music where people are dancing, enjoying it in a more engaged way. That became a sort of natural progression for me towards club music. I have a small production studio in my apartment, which is where I've made 90% of the music that I've made in the past 10 to 15 years. It's not the kind of space where you can record a lot of live instrumentation, but it's sort of like the hub, the center where it all comes together. I grew up in about an hour north of the city, and I went to all the New York clubs, classic ones, the Tunnel, Limelight, Sound Factory. That kind of opened me up to the world of club music, and understand it a bit more. Before then, DJs were just guys who put on records made by other people, you know?
Do you know these compilations, For the Love of You, they're all like reggae covers of like R&B tunes. It's like from the 80s, sounds like the drums are probably like Simmons drums, like electronic drums, but played by a person.
I started to get a sense for like how the whole thing worked, like
All right, we're here.
creating sort of a story with music over the course of a night, and the way that people kind of engaged with it, and how you helped move the energy through the course of an evening. That's still kind of like the thing that excites me now. All of my efforts in music are kind of directed towards is that experience and that environment. Razor and Tape, it's now much more about kind of a collective of artists and musicians that we work with, and they're from artists all over the world. The thing that I'm really interested in is supporting artists who are trying to do something real, new, and honest. Yeah, okay. Just talking and talking and talking.